When I turned 78, I felt reasonably well. I walked every morning, enjoyed my coffee, and thought my heart was strong. But one night something changed. I woke up startled, with my chest pounding in a strange way and a feeling of breathlessness that filled me with fear. The next day, without thinking twice, I made an appointment with my cardiologist. That visit marked a before and after in my life. I remember how the doctor listened to me carefully, examined me, did some tests, and in the end, leaned toward me and said in a calm but firm voice, "Your heart has worked hard during these 78 years. If you want it to stay strong, you have to help it every day. And there is something you can do every night that will reduce the risk of serious problems." Those words stayed engraved in my mind. It was not a miracle prescription or an expensive medication. It was something simple, natural, and within anyone's reach, but with a huge impact on health. I left the office with a mix of fear and hope. Fear because I understood that time passes for everyone and that the heart is not invincible. Hope because I discovered that I could still take control of my well-being. That very night, I started applying my cardiologist's advice, and within a few days, I began to notice the difference. I slept better, I felt calmer, and my palpitations disappeared. That is why I decided to record this video. Today, I want to share with you not only the advice my cardiologist gave me, but also 8 nighttime habits that science supports to protect your heart after the age of 70. They are simple steps that you can add to your routine starting tonight. It does not matter if you are 70, 80, or even 90. It is never too late to take care of the engine that keeps your life going. I invite you to stay until the end, because this knowledge can help you or someone you love avoid serious health problems. Before we begin, I would love to get to know you a little better. How old are you, and from where are you watching this video? Leave it in the comments, because that way I will know whom I am talking to, and we can create a community of people who take care of their heart and their life. Why the heart needs extra care after 70. From the age of 70 onward, our body starts talking to us in a different way. What once seemed normal now feels more intense. Climbing a few stairs can leave us out of breath, a small fright can speed up the heart more than expected, and a bad night's sleep is paid for with tiredness throughout the whole day. The heart, that muscle that has been beating non-stop from the very first moment of our life, has done tireless work for decades. Now it needs us to care for it more than ever. With age, the arteries lose elasticity and become stiffer. This means the blood finds more resistance as it circulates, and blood pressure tends to rise little by little. The heart has to work harder to pump the same amount of blood. In addition, the electrical system that controls the heart rhythm can become less stable, which explains why some older people develop arrhythmias. These changes are natural, but not therefore unavoidable. With proper attention, we can slow them down and even improve our quality of life. I remember Mr. Richard, a neighbor who always greeted everyone with a smile from his front door. He was 75 years old and used to say he never went to the doctor because he felt fine. One day, while sweeping the sidewalk, he began to feel dizzy and sat down on the ground. He thought it was because of the heat, but the feeling came back a few days later, this time accompanied by chest pain. When he finally went to the hospital, the doctors told him he had suffered a small heart attack and that his blood pressure had been dangerously high for years. With the right treatment and some changes in his routine, he recovered, but he himself confessed to me that he wished he had paid attention to the signs from his body earlier. The heart does not give loud warnings until something goes wrong. That is why it is so important to listen to it every day. Taking care of it does not mean living in fear, but living intelligently. If your heart beats well, everything else makes sense. You can walk, laugh, spend time with your family, and keep enjoying life. But if you neglect it, even the simplest things become difficult. Understanding that after 70, the heart needs extra support is the first step to protecting it. In the next few minutes, we are going to go deeper into the advice my cardiologist gave me and into 8 habits you can include in your nighttime routine to keep your heart strong. They are small actions, but very powerful ones that can make the difference between a life limited by the fear of a heart problem and a life in which you feel confident, safe, and full of energy. I remember perfectly the moment when my cardiologist gave me the advice that, honestly, I believe has saved me from many problems. After reviewing my tests and listening to my symptoms, he looked me in the eye and said, "What can help your heart the most at this stage of your life is lowering the level of tension that builds up during the day. Before going to bed, dedicate 15 minutes to a relaxation routine. Breathe deeply, stretch your body, and allow your heart rate to settle. Doing this every night can significantly reduce the risk of nighttime hypertension, improve sleep quality, and protect the heart." At first, it seemed too simple to me. I thought I might need a new pill or a complicated treatment, but no. He explained to me that our nervous system has two main modes, one of alert, the one we use during the day to solve problems and move quickly, and another of calm, which is the one that allows us to rest. With age, that switch from one mode to the other becomes more difficult, and many times we go to bed still with a racing heart. That, even if we do not feel it, raises blood pressure during the night and can slowly damage the heart and arteries. When I understood this, I decided to follow his advice to the letter. Every night, right before going to bed, I sit on the edge of the bed, close my eyes, and take deep breaths. I inhale while counting to 4, hold the air for a couple of seconds, and then exhale slowly. I repeat this cycle for a few minutes. Afterwards, I do some gentle stretches, move my shoulders, my neck, my wrists, my ankles. It is not intense exercise. It is more like a reminder to my body that everything is all right and it can relax. And then I lie down. The changes were surprising. In just a few days, I started to sleep more deeply. I woke up fewer times during the night, and in the morning, I felt more rested. At my next appointment, my blood pressure was better than it had been in months. The doctor smiled and told me that my heart was benefiting from that moment of calm before sleep. That is why today I want to invite you to try it. You do not need any special equipment. It does not matter if you have little space in your room. It does not even matter if you are very tired. Just take 10 to 15 minutes tonight. Sit somewhere quiet, breathe deeply, and do a few gentle stretches. Let your body release the stress of the day. It may seem like a small gesture, but believe me, it can be the difference between a night of tension and a night in which your heart truly rests. Start today, and in a few days, you will feel the change. Habit 1. Deep breathing before sleep. If there is a simple, free habit within everyone's reach that can transform heart health, it is conscious deep breathing. It may sound too simple to be so powerful, but science confirms it. Dedicating a few minutes every night to breathing slowly and in a controlled way lowers blood pressure, stabilizes heart rate, and calms the nervous system. It is like giving your heart an internal massage. During the day, our breathing is usually shallow. We are in a hurry, we talk, we get stressed, and without realizing it, we only half fill our lungs. That keeps the body in a state of alert, what is known as the sympathetic mode. But at night, we need to activate the parasympathetic mode, the one that tells the body it is time to rest and repair. Deep breathing is the key that opens that door. I'm going to explain the technique my cardiologist taught me, step by step. It is very simple. You do not need any special equipment, just a quiet place and a few minutes for yourself. First, sit on the bed or on a chair with your back straight and your feet resting on the floor. Close your eyes if it helps you concentrate. Then, inhale through your nose while slowly counting to 4, feeling your abdomen expand, not just your chest. Then, hold your breath for 2 seconds. Next, exhale gently through your mouth, also counting to 4, as if you were blowing out a candle very slowly. Before inhaling again, pause for another 2 seconds. That is 1 full cycle. Repeat between 5 and 10 cycles, or for as long as you need until you feel your body relax. The first night I tried it, I admit I was a bit skeptical. I thought I might get bored or would not notice anything. But to my surprise, halfway through the exercise, I already felt my shoulders lighter and my mind less agitated. When I finished, I lay down and fell asleep in a few minutes, something that had not happened for a long time. When I woke up, I felt that I had slept deeply, without those frequent early morning awakenings. This habit not only prepares you to sleep better, it also trains the heart to work more efficiently. Studies have shown that regular deep breathing can reduce the risk of hypertension and improve heart rate variability, a marker of cardiovascular health. In addition, it helps control anxiety and stress, two silent enemies of the heart. I invite you tonight, before turning off the light, to dedicate a few minutes to this practice. At first, it may be hard to concentrate, but every day it will become easier, and you will notice the effect in your body. It is a small gift you can give your heart every night, and it can give you many years of life with better quality. Habit 2. 5 minutes of gentle stretching. In addition to deep breathing, another habit my cardiologist recommended was spending a few minutes moving my body before sleep. It may sound contradictory, because many people think nighttime exercise keeps you awake, but we are not talking about intense workouts or lifting weights. We are talking about gentle stretching. Movements that help relax the muscles, improve circulation, and prepare the body for rest. With age, blood vessels lose some of their elasticity, and blood tends to circulate more slowly, especially if we have spent many hours sitting during the day. Doing light stretches at night is like giving the heart a small push so it can finish its work without extra effort. These movements help blood flow evenly, preventing it from pooling in the legs and reducing the risk of swelling or nighttime cramps. You do not need a large space or special equipment. You can start sitting on the bed. Move your ankles in circles, first in one direction and then in the other. Then gently stretch your legs and flex your feet forward and backward to activate circulation. If you can, stand up and do a slight shoulder roll backward as if you wanted to open your chest. Then, slowly tilt your head to one side and then to the other to release tension in your neck. Everything should be gentle, with no bouncing or pain. The key is to listen to your body. If something hurts, stop. It is not about forcing the muscles, but relaxing them. In less than 5 minutes, you can do this routine, and you will feel your body lighter. The first night I tried it, I was surprised to feel warmth in my hands and feet, a sign that blood was flowing better. I slept more comfortably without those cramps that used to wake me in the early hours. The only thing you should avoid is high-intensity exercise or movements that raise your heart rate too much at that time. We want the heart to calm down, not speed up. Think of this routine as a gentle transition between the busy day and the calm of the night. It is a gift your heart will appreciate. Habit 3. Reducing screens and blue light. We live in a time in which the television, the phone, and the tablet are part of our routine until the last minute of the day. However, one of the simplest and most effective changes you can make to take care of your heart is to reduce screen exposure before sleep. The blue light emitted by these devices confuses our brain, making it believe it is still daytime. As a result, production of melatonin, the sleep hormone, is delayed, the body takes longer to relax, and the heart keeps working at a higher pace. My cardiologist explained to me that poor sleep increases blood pressure and inflammation levels in the body, two factors that damage the arteries over time. That is why he recommended turning off screens at least 30 minutes before bed and replacing the habit of watching the news or checking social media with something calmer. At first, I thought I would be bored, but I was surprised by the effect it had on my rest. Instead of watching television until late, I started reading a light book. I also tried listening to soft music or nature sounds. In just a few days, my mind felt less agitated and falling asleep became much easier. I noticed that I no longer woke up in the early hours with a racing heart, and my blood pressure in the morning started to improve. Reducing screens before sleep not only improves sleep quality, it also protects the heart in the long term. Sleeping well allows blood pressure to drop naturally during the night, giving the cardiovascular system the rest it needs. It is not about eliminating technology completely, but about setting healthy limits. If you use your phone as an alarm clock, leave it charging away from the bed and use the last half hour to truly relax. I invite you to try it tonight. Turn off the television, put your phone on silent, and choose a calm activity. It could be reading a few pages of a book, writing in a notebook something you are grateful for, or simply sitting in silence. Your heart and your mind will thank you the next day. Habit 4. Adequate hydration before bedtime. One of the pieces of advice from my cardiologist that surprised me the most was about water. I never imagined that something as simple as drinking the right amount of liquid before sleep could make such a difference in heart health. Hydration is essential for the blood to keep the proper consistency. When we do not drink enough water, the blood becomes thicker and the heart has to work harder to pump it. This increases the risk of clots, especially in older people who spend many hours lying down at night. But there is an important balance. Too much water right before going to bed can make us get up several times to use the bathroom, interrupting sleep. And poor rest also raises blood pressure. That is why the ideal is to stay hydrated throughout the day and drink a small glass of water, or at most half a glass, about 20 or 30 minutes before sleep. This keeps the body in good condition without overloading the bladder. I used to drink very little during the day and then make up for it at night. I would wake up 2 or 3 times and ended up getting out of bed feeling tired. When I started spreading out my water intake evenly, 1 glass when I woke up, another mid-morning, 1 at lunchtime, and another in the mid-afternoon, I noticed a big change. At night, with that last small glass, I no longer felt a dry mouth and slept without interruptions. Remember that the heart needs the blood to circulate easily. A dehydrated body forces the heart to work harder, as if it were trying to push honey instead of water through the pipes. So hydrate yourself intelligently, not too much, not too little, and not all at once right before bed. This small discipline can help you prevent serious problems like thrombosis or elevated nighttime blood pressure. Habit 5. Checking medication and blood pressure. Another nighttime habit that has become part of my routine is checking my medication and my blood pressure before sleep. It may seem like a small thing, but taking your pills at the same time every day helps keep levels in the body stable. Many medications for the heart and blood pressure work best when they are taken regularly, without skipping schedules. That is why my cardiologist recommended setting a fixed time at night for this task as part of my getting ready for bed routine. In addition, measuring blood pressure at home is a very valuable tool. It is not necessary to do it every night, but at least 2 or 3 times a week can help you detect important changes in time. You only need an automatic blood pressure monitor, the kind that goes on the arm. Sit in a quiet place, wait a couple of minutes in silence, and then take the reading. Write it down in a notebook or on your phone to keep a record. That way, you can show the results to your doctor at your next appointment, and they will have a more complete picture of your condition. I remember a friend called Martha who started feeling dizzy in the mornings. She thought it was because of the heat, but when she checked her blood pressure at home, she discovered it was very high, much higher than it had been at her last medical checkup. Thanks to that information, she went to the doctor right away, and they adjusted the dose of her medication. Her risk of complications dropped dramatically. If she had not had that control at home, she could have suffered a stroke. This habit takes only a few minutes and gives you valuable information to protect your heart. It also gives you peace of mind. You go to bed knowing that your blood pressure is under control and that you took your medication on time. It is a small gesture that, with consistency, becomes a shield for your cardiovascular health. Habit 6. Light, heart-friendly dinners. What we eat at night has a direct effect on how the heart works while we sleep. Many people believe that eating a heavy dinner is not a problem because they are not going to use energy anymore. But in reality, the opposite happens. If the body is busy digesting a large amount of food, the heart and the digestive system work over time, which raises blood pressure, makes sleep more difficult, and can cause you to wake up several times in the early hours. My cardiologist advised me to avoid certain foods at dinner, especially after the age of 70. Fried foods and processed meats are 2 of the main culprits because they are loaded with saturated fats and salt. It is also a good idea to reduce the amount of white bread, very greasy sauces, and heavily seasoned foods that can cause heartburn. When we eat like that, the heart has to pump more blood toward the digestive system, and that can trigger nighttime palpitations. Light dinners, on the other hand, are a gift for the body. Ideally, include cooked vegetables, which are easy to digest, along with a small portion of lean protein such as fish or skinless chicken. A handful of plain nuts or a few slices of avocado provide healthy fats for the heart. If you prefer something even lighter, a vegetable cream soup can be enough to satisfy your hunger and still leave your stomach feeling light. In my case, I used to eat dinner very late and with heavy foods. Since I changed this habit, I've noticed that I go to bed feeling lighter, I fall asleep faster, and I do not have that heavy feeling in my chest. On top of that, my digestion improved, and I no longer suffer from heartburn. Eating well at night is not about eating less, but about eating intelligently. Your heart needs to truly rest at night, not to be working on the digestion of an excessive meal. Habit 7. Practicing gratitude and reducing stress. Stress is one of the greatest enemies of the heart. Although we cannot eliminate it completely, we can reduce its impact on our body. When we are tense, the body produces hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline, which raise blood pressure and keep the heart in a state of alert. If this state is prolonged, over time the risk of heart attacks and other cardiovascular diseases increases. One of the most powerful tools I have discovered is gratitude. It may seem like something small, but writing down 3 things you are grateful for every night changes the way your brain perceives the day. By focusing on the positive, the body relaxes and the mind stops going in circles around problems right before sleep. I started this practice in a very simple way: a notebook and a pen on my bedside table. Every night I write down 3 good things that happened to me, even if they are very small. It's a phone call from a friend, a pleasant walk, or even a beautiful sunset I saw from the window. This habit transformed my nights. Instead of lying in bed thinking about what went wrong, I fall asleep with a feeling of peace. The impact on my mood was immediate. I slept more deeply and woke up with a more positive attitude. Science confirms it. Gratitude practices reduce stress levels, improve sleep quality, and have measurable effects on heart health. It is a simple, free habit that anyone can start tonight. Habit 8. Going to sleep at the same time every night. The last habit my cardiologist recommended is perhaps the simplest of all, but also one of the most important: going to bed and getting up at the same time every day. Our body has an internal clock known as the circadian rhythm, which regulates hormone release, blood pressure, and even body temperature. When we respect this rhythm, the heart works more efficiently and rest is much more restorative. When we go to bed at a different time each day, the body gets confused, blood pressure takes longer to drop, heart rate stays elevated, and sleep is lighter. In the long term, this can increase the risk of arrhythmias or nighttime hypertension. What I did was to establish a routine: a fixed time for dinner, another to turn off screens, and finally, a time to go to bed. At first, it was a bit difficult because I was used to watching television until late, but in a few weeks I noticed that I fell asleep faster and woke up with more energy. Even my morning blood pressure readings began to improve. Regularity is key. Even on weekends, it is best to keep your schedule as stable as possible. It is not about living rigidly, but about teaching your body to go into rest mode naturally. Your heart will be grateful. Common myths. About the heart after 70, there are many beliefs that can put our health at risk if we accept them without questioning them. One of the most dangerous myths is thinking that chest pain is normal at a certain age. It is not. Any oppressive pain, feeling of weight or burning in the chest should be a reason to see a doctor immediately. Another common myth is believing that a little high cholesterol is not a problem. The truth is that after 70, the arteries are more fragile, and any excess cholesterol can speed up the formation of plaques that block blood flow. It is also false that high blood pressure does not need treatment because you are already old. Controlling blood pressure is essential at any age to prevent heart attacks and strokes. My recommendation is not to normalize serious symptoms. If you feel unusual palpitations, difficulty breathing, frequent dizziness, or chest pain, do not ignore it. It is better to get checked in time than to face a bigger scare later. Your heart is valuable and deserves professional attention. What you should avoid doing before sleeping. Just as there are habits that strengthen the heart, there are also practices that put it at risk if you do them right before sleeping. The first is consuming caffeine or alcohol at night. Both substances raise your heart rate and can disrupt sleep quality. Ideally, you should avoid coffee, black tea, and alcoholic drinks at least 4 or 5 hours before going to bed. Another habit worth avoiding is having arguments or talking about very stressful topics right before bed. The heart does not distinguish whether the danger is real or imagined. It releases adrenaline and keeps you alert, making it hard to rest. In the same way, watching very violent news or spending time on social media reading negative content can increase emotional tension and raise blood pressure. Instead, look for calm alternatives. Listen to relaxing music, read a few pages of an inspiring book, or spend a few minutes doing deep breathing. Creating a peaceful environment before sleep is a powerful signal to the body that it is time to rest. Today we have gone through the advice my cardiologist gave me and the 8 habits that can transform your heart health: deep breathing, gentle stretching, fewer screens, proper hydration, checking medication and blood pressure, light dinners, gratitude, and a stable sleep routine. None of these habits is complicated or requires major resources, but together they create a powerful protection for the heart. I want you to take away a message of hope. It is never too late to start. Even if you are 70, 80, or older, your body still responds to good habits. Every small change you make today can give you more years of life, and above all, a better quality of life. I invite you to put at least one of these habits into practice tonight. Start with the one that seems easiest to you and notice how you feel. Then, add another, and little by little you will build a routine that will take care of your heart every day. Before I say goodbye, I want to ask you something. Tell me in the comments how old you are, from where you are watching this video, and which habit you are going to try first. That way, we can learn from one another and form a community that supports each other to live longer and better.